He couldn't believe that he bumped into the candlestick again. Idiot! Clasper thought to himself. Clasper the clumsy ghost, he was called. Once again proved by an unfortunate run-in with a candlestick. Clasper desperately did not want to bump into things and scare poor Chloe. He often knocked items around in Chloe's room, scaring her and making her afraid of him. He was a friendly ghost, but the ghoulies in Ghost Elementary School were right when they called him Clasper the Clumsy Ghost. He was clumsy, and it caused the smiling, lovely Chloe to not smile at all. It caused her to frown. Items suddenly crashing down and flying around her room did not make her feel happy. Clasper learned. Clasper was determined to keep trying and make a comeback. Casper, the cat-like, quiet ghost, was still within his grasp.
Yeah! This XFL Fancast. Woo! Yeah! XFL Fancast, y'all. Oh, you know I ain't gonna make you wait. XFL Fancast. Let's get on with the show. XFL Fancast. Now. Oh yeah! Episode 4. You've made it to episode 4. Whoa. That was weird. But you have made it to episode 4. The demonic voice was correct. I say demonic voice because there's some demons in this episode. There's some enforcement. There's lots going on in this episode, so strap yourselves in. Woo! Wow, that was a off-kilter woo. Man, my Ric Flair needs some work. His Ric Flair needs work. I mean, it's a work in progress. It's not quite finished. But y'all, this is 7, and this is the XFL Fancast, episode number 4. Thanks for joining. Thanks for riding along. First, a little business. Let's talk about what we're gonna do. This episode, we are going to break down a game. We are going to dive into a game. In fact, the game that we're diving into is as promised. It's what we teased last week. It's what we began last episode. XFL Week 2, Chicago Enforcers versus LA Extreme. Double OT with bonus coverage. That's what you type into YouTube if you want to watch along with me. If you want to watch the game and then kind of just enjoy the commentary and go along with the ride. So that's it. So that's XFL Week 2. We just picked a game at random. Some of the initial thoughts were covered in episode 3. So if you want a primer, go back to episode 3 now and get you some background info. One note on episode 3, I will say this. I had a little wine. I had a little wine in that episode. I had a little wine, and I was a little too excited. I said incredible? Too much. I said unbelievable? Too much. Yeah, so, I didn't have that much wine. I had like a glass, maybe a glass and a half, but I think it was enough to make me a little giggly while I was talking about my excitement for this game, and it came out, and so that's just is what it is. I'm gonna leave it up. Y'all can see the giggly version, the silly. Wine brings out the silly in me. I'm a silly drunk, or if I have alcohol, it just makes me sillier and goofy. I'm already a little silly, so it just makes me sillier and goosier. All right, so we got some business. This game was so good, y'all. I took notes. Like a true professional. We're not messing around with this podcast. This isn't some amateur hour, okay? I mean, we're doing this real. Like, I'm taking this serious. I mean, how are we gonna grow this thing to the next level? We can't, at least take notes. Actually, you need to take notes. There's so much going on. If I didn't take notes, it would be, just a complete ADD. It's gonna be ADD already, because my notes aren't that precise. I'm watching a game. I don't know how to take notes when I'm watching a game, people. It's my first time. It is my first time. So anyhow, I got the old Notes app open on my Mac and took some stream of consciousness notes, and we are gonna try to interpret these notes and go over this game, because this game is dope. I mean, I'm telling you, you will have a good time if you watch this game and then listen to this podcast, because this was, as it turns out, if you watch the whole game, this game is good on so many levels. It's a mediocre football game. It's a boring football game. It's the best football game, and it's all three of those, depending on what point you're watching it. I think when I first, because I watched these halves on 2 different days. I watched one half one day, and then I watched the second half another day. And after the first half, I was amazed with the production. Like, I was in love with all the XFL-ness. But the football was, and then if you watch a lot of the second half, it's even worse. I mean, it becomes basically a boring game, and all you have is the XFL-ness. Just, you have to wash yourself in the XFL-ness. And then, honestly, this game at the end is exciting, and we'll get to all that. But that's a teaser, and that's real though. So, without further ado, let's roll into this game. Episode 3, I think we left off at 6 minutes 29 seconds, right? So at 6 minutes 29 seconds, like, I had kind of like pressed pause and said we were gonna do the rest on another day. And guess what? That other day is today. And so you heard some of my initial views there. But as soon as we I pressed play again on this YouTube video, it almost immediately is not the game we're supposed to be watching. We're supposed to be watching Chicago Enforcers versus LA Extreme. Double OT with bonus coverage. That's what we're supposed to be watching. But, I turned it back on, and all of a sudden we're in Orlando, and we're watching the Orlando Rage versus the San Francisco Demons. By the way, that's the demonic tie-in. So it was Orlando Rage versus the San Fran Demons, and both those teams were 1-0 at the time. So it was a battle of unbeatens, which was pointed out. But the thing, so that was weird. So what happened is, what had happened was, I guess the power went out in LA. The power went out somehow. So that was a growing. See, even XFL had growing pains, just like this podcast, just like the XFL Fancast had growing pains. So they had also wrestling announcers in that game. They had I don't know, some really polished announcer dude. I didn't write his name down, but the guy I remember is they had the King. They had he's just in quotes the King, and I believe that the King, and I love the King. I remember the King, like, I'm aware of the King. Like, the King is a hilarious dude. I've seen him on wrestling broadcasts. And I recall, I think from the movie Man on the Moon, it's the King that Andy Kaufman gets in a fight with, gets beef with on David Letterman when Andy Kaufman was going through his wrestling phase when he was wrestling women and stuff. So if y'all don't know about Andy Kaufman, if y'all have never seen Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey, like, that is Jim Carrey's best movie in my opinion, because it's like actually a quality film, and he's also very funny. It's one of those few films that is artistic and funny. There's not a lot of those, but Man on the Moon is that, in my opinion. Because, like the Tony Clifton stuff on Man on the Moon is like next level. It's really good. So, but the King, I think his name is Jerry Lawler. I didn't look that up. Is it Jerry? Yeah, maybe Jerry Lawler, the King. But he's funny. So they just call him the King on the broadcast. And so he's announcing the game. And, we watched like 5 minutes of this game, the Orlando Rage and the San Francisco Demons. But, just these announcers are always cracking jokes. Like, they're cracking jokes, and they're like your goofy uncle, who's had a couple and just lets it spew out of his mouth. Like the king like cracks a joke about the power being out, and he's like, I couldn't believe it. My buddy, he did it. I didn't think he'd do it. I dared him to pull the power, and he did it. Except for the King does it way funnier than me. Like, he like has that kind of like that southern hyper accent, and I mean, I don't do a King impression. I do a bad Jesse the Body impression, which you'll hear later on. But right now, yeah. So the King's like cracking jokes, and that's just indicative of how awesome these announcers are. Like, they're really good, and they're not only good at cracking jokes and keeping you entertained that way, but they're honestly like good football announcers. They kind of remind me of like, a couple of the best announcers from the other football league, from the NFL. Right now, to me, the best is Chucky, John Gruden, because he's kind of got that down home thing, right? And the best announcer, in my opinion, right now is Tony Romo. And Tony Romo is good because he is kind of down home and he cracks jokes. He's not afraid to have some personality. It's just, and these guys in 2001 pulled it off. Unlike, the buttoned up, kind of too professional NFL guys that we usually get. So I really, to me, the XFL-ness was the best part of this game. And there's so much XFL. I mean, we're bathed in XFL-ness in this game. So eventually, we watch a little of that game, with the Dems, the Dems, the Demons, and the Rage, the Demons and the Rage, the Demons and the Rage. They play for 5 minutes, and then they switch. Then we went back to the LA. We went back to LA, but a couple of cool things that we saw, that we saw in the before we went back to LA, because actually it was more than 5 minutes. Like, we're out in Orlando watching that game for longer than we should have been, and some cool things that we got to see were the punting rules. Like, again, like, it's so cool. Like, I think I covered this a little bit, but there's no fair catch in the XFL. Like, it is chaos. Like, the punt is like must-see TV. Like, of all the plays that you can watch, like, it's the punting. Like, the punting is like I'm glued to my seat, like, with these punting rules. Like, I don't know if they're gonna keep the punting rules in the XFL to come, but I'm open to it. It was fun. Like, it is just like, you can't stop. Like, the most exciting thing to watch is the punt, and that's ironic because that is the worst thing to watch right now. Well, maybe not the worst, but among the worst things to watch. And it's cool. Like, because they got that rule where if you kick it, if it's more than 25 yards, and it's a free ball, right? And the kicking team can actually recover it, and there's no fair catch, so they got to return it. And it just puts them in awkward positions, and so guys are, instead of letting it bounce on like the 2-yard line, I mean, they're catching it and trying to run it back. I mean, it is the kind of play that if it happened in the NFL, like, people are like, oh, cut his ass, horrible, the dumbest play I've ever seen. But here it's like what you have to do. Okay, so what happens is we come back to the game in Los Angeles, and it's already 12-6. Okay, like, we come back, it's 12-6. Like, we have no idea what the hell happened, but it's 12-6. It seems like it's only been 5 minutes, but I don't know how it became 12-6. And the reason it's 12-6 is they're not making any PATs, right? So, in the XFL, you have to get the extra point from the 2-yard line. You don't get 2 points. It's not a 2-point conversion. It's just the only way to get a actual PAT, and they weren't getting it. So it was 12-6. So there's 3 touchdowns that we missed while we were away. And it seemed like it was early on in the game, so there must have been like a ton of action that like we missed. But luckily we come back, and it's Jesse the Body and it's Jim Ross. Call him JR. Kept calling him JR. Before I get too deep into that, one thing I thought was really cool is the football itself. Like the XFL football looks cool. It's like black with like these like red design on it, and maybe it's an X. Maybe it's some sort of like, maybe it's a big X on the football, but it just looks cool like from afar. Like it's got these lines and kind of looks cool just on the ground. But I'm easy to please like that, like an interesting looking football, because I'm a child and it makes me feel good. So I really enjoyed that. But so like Jim Ross and Jesse the Body, they were there, and like it is hilarious. The commentating, like they just have all those jokes. Like there was another joke about like, oh, Chicago's employing the old Swiss cheese defense, right? I mean, that's just good. Like, it's something, it's like kind of too biting. It's like, it's something that they wouldn't say. And it's like, it's kind of down home. It's like what your uncle would say. Oh, that's the Swiss cheese defense. Right. And like, they're cracking those jokes. The announcers are, and like, I freaking loved it. I mean, there's so many good jokes by, the announcers and by, Jesse the Body is funny. Like I haven't watched him on wrestling announcing very much, but like dude's funny. And the crazy thing is Jesse the Body was the freaking governor at this point. Like I looked it up. He was governor from 1999 to 2003. So while he's announcing this game, I don't know if he's like in the off season of being a governor, or like he just moonlights as a football announcer as governor. I mean, that has to be, that is pre-Trump madness. He was can you imagine the governor of your state is the announcer on football? But I guess that would make sense if you voted for Jesse the Body, because like everyone knew he was crazy, like when they voted for him. But he's a great speaker. He's a dynamic speaker, and he's funny. And he's a great football announcer. I just can't. I don't know. You have to watch this game, and you'll see. Like he's just a great football announcer. Like I think they should. I hope they bring him back for the new XFL. I hope he comes back. I mean, he's actually really good. There's just so much. There's so much power in his voice. Like it's fun to listen to, and it's funny. So, some other random thoughts, so what happens is as you're watching this game, and before we talk about the action too much, like there's just random XFL-ness that they have all these rules in XFL, and they're trying to educate the viewers as we're watching. So they just kind of like name drop here and there, some XFL rule tidbits, not name drop, but knowledge drop, and throughout the broadcast, like you have to watch the whole broadcast, and and it's not, there's no order to it. They just, whenever there's like an open second, they freaking drop another knowledge nugget about what they do in the XFL. And they keep, and like another hilarious part is they keep selling the XFL the whole time. It's like, wow, you wouldn't see that anywhere. Oh, thank God for the XFL. There it is, the XFL. Woo! Yeah, but like they're trying hard, man. They're selling. But like I'm buying. So like they don't need to keep selling it so hard because I am buying it. And then like another rule that they were talking about early on was the money. There's some sort of money payouts. I think the winning team gets extra money, or maybe like only the winning team gets money, and the other team barely gets any money. But the winning team gets like $2,500, something like that. And I don't know what happens to the losing team. That'll have to we'll learn that together when we do the deep dive, like rule episode. But Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. So like it added like this financial incentive, like to get the guys to play hard. And a lot of these guys are, broke. So $2,500 would mean a lot. Like they keep, another thing they kept doing with the broadcast is at different times they just keep cutting to another human interest story. One after the other. Well, not one after the other, but they did a number of them, and they would talk about, like, this guy used to be a teacher, this guy used to be a mechanic, this guy was, on the mean streets of Watts. Look, this guy was barely surviving. He was dodging the gangs, and he made it. So the $2,500 probably would matter, and it's kind of fun. Like, there's like a little prize fighting element. It was like a little seedy perhaps, but I didn't mind. Like, I don't know. They should probably not do it in the future incarnation, or if they do it and like not focus on it as much. I'll be honest, like the whole XFL broadcast is complete chaos. Like I enjoyed it. Like as someone that's like close to having ADD, this is the perfect broadcast for you. Like it is just nonstop freaking input just flowing into your brain. So let's talk about this more. So okay, so first off, real early in the game, Jesse the Body, and I wrote this one down, like, he had all sorts of jokes, but, like, Jesse at one point early on in the game, he's like, I'd like to call this the Rudy League. Everyone in here is like that movie Rudy. Where the boy that couldn't really play plays. Yeah, so, like he's kind of slamming the quality of the product in the XFL. He's calling everybody Rudy. Oh my gosh! But so Rudy is this movie. If you're a younger listener and you're not aware of the reference, it's this movie where this kind of short, stocky guy that wasn't very athletic made it onto the just through sheer like will and determination made it onto the the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the 70s, and it's just it's the story of willpower overcoming your lack of natural talent, and it is an inspiring movie, and it's a great movie, but it's not necessarily like a compliment to call somebody Rudy. I mean, I guess it's compliment in their spirit, but if you're talking to someone who thinks they're athletic, it's probably not a compliment, but it was funny, so I laughed. I really liked it. Okay, and then so it's 12-6. The initial action I'm watching is not that exciting. There's a little sloppiness to the play. The players, like, there's some really good players. It's really odd. It's like a hodgepodge. It's like, a couple of these players are good. They move right. They look right. There's this one player, Copeland, the wide receiver. He's good. He's really good. I've been told you about Tommy Maddox. Tommy Maddox is, he's a solid player. He had a good game, as it turns out. Like, he has a good game in this game. He ends up throwing for like 400 yards. Like, it was pretty crazy. So, they're moving initially, like the play is, there's just not a lot of defense for a lot of the first half. Not a lot of defense, and we'll keep talking about that. But so the play is kind of interesting, but really the thing that I'm watching and I'm digging is just all the random XFL moments. Like one of the first moments that caught me was like out of nowhere they cut to this promo where they had this like bikini girl like walking on the beach, and she's one of the cheerleaders, and it's like meet your cheerleaders kind of segment, so she's walking, and she's like, I'm a surfer, and they say the size of the wave matters, but not for me. It's all about the motion of the ocean. And she kind of moves sultry and sexy, and it's fun to watch. Right, and then they cut to her, like, and the rest of the cheerleaders, kind of like on this platform, and they're not really dancing like cheerleaders traditionally do, or like doing a synchronized dance. It's like it's more like kind of like a hybrid of like a stripper and a cheerleader. I'm not gonna say they're quite stripper level, but they were like just trying to be sexy. Like they're kind of moving like sultry, not really together, but I wouldn't say it's like as trashy as like a stripper. It was more like a go-go dancer, perhaps. Like that might be. But if you ever seen this movie called The Replacements with Keanu Reeves, I know that the Replacements and the cheerleaders in The Replacements were definitely a spoof off of what they were doing with the XFL, because. Yeah, and to be honest, like it was probably more shocking in 2001. A lot of the cheerleaders, especially at NBA games, like they're practically doing moves like we were seeing from these girls. I think it was more shocking in 2001. It was like more ahead of its time and more like, whoa, those girls are, yeah. But now you see it a lot in the NBA, but they're kind of doing individual moves. But it was hilarious. Like when she's walking on the beach, it's kind of like one of those like you're up too late and it's cable television, and maybe you're watching USA Network back in the day, and it's like some girl, like she's walking on the ocean and she's just like, oh, I'm so bored, I wish you would call me. Yeah, so she didn't want us to call her, but she did want us to watch her dance, and I was definitely more than happy to. But it was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed that. That was solid. And then Jesse the Body. Okay, so immediately they cut back from this beach surfer girl promo, and Jesse the Body's like,
I was a Navy SEAL, and as a SEAL, we were in the water all the time, and now you know why I love the water.
Right. He loves the water because there's hot chicks in the water, like that girl. Yeah. Or he was making a Motion of the Ocean reference. I don't know, but
Jesse the Body loves water.
My impression fell apart there, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so let's see. Looking at the notes. Let's go to the notes. Okay. So again, the football action, I didn't make I'm not chronicling it play by play. Perhaps I will in a future episode. Right now, I'm more focusing on like what makes the XFL broadcast just so amazing and why you should watch this game. So they have all these like, I guess they're called gimmicks. Yeah, it's just they're trying all these tricks to like keep your attention, right? Just at all moments, they're just throwing something new at you, right? And it's entertaining to watch because some of it is like kind of trying too hard, but some of it is just really cool. Like there's this moment at 43 minutes and 1 second that they keep giving you extra audio, like the XFL is giving you so much audio, like you can't believe. Like you're hearing so many conversations between players and coaches, between athletic trainers and players. Like they're micing everybody up, and they're going to the audio at all times. And there's this one moment at 43 minutes where this guy's injured. He caught a pass over the middle, and he got a stinger, or like I don't know, he got his hip injured, and like he's just sitting there and he's talking to the trainer, and he's just groaning. He's like, get me off the field. I mean, it's actually kind of mean. It's kind of mean that they broadcasted it. Like it was sad, but like it's funny. Like it's funny because it's like ridiculous that they're broadcasting someone's groans and pain. Like shouldn't be broadcasting people's groans and pain, but they did it, and it's funny in kind of like a sick way. Like I definitely recommend watching it. I mean, it's not like I'm happy you got injured, but it's absurd that they broadcasted it, so you have to watch. Okay, so all right, so then another like XFL-ness moment was it was at 46 minutes and 55 seconds. They show these people in a hot tub. They got like a makeshift beach, like at the outside of the end zone. They got this like makeshift beach, and like they just got like this dude is in there with like some hot chicks, and he's just having a party. He's partying, and it's hilarious. Like it's like this cheesy beach, and they just cut to it coming out of commercial. It's really cool. And one thing, okay, and then like another really cool. So I told you I had all this crazy audio, and one of the coolest pieces of audio, and this is something that I think we should try to keep, like if we can keep it in the new incarnation of the XFL. But they broadcasted that. You know how the coach can talk to the quarterback. You know, like the quarterback has like a transmission in his, you know, some sort of headpiece in his helmet that he can talk to the coach, or at least the coach can talk to him. And it is like they would cut to that. Like, so there was a couple of crucial moments where Tommy Maddox was calling a play, and they broadcasted what the coach was saying to him. And like, it was interesting. Like, I was genuinely like, oh wow, that's how it goes down. Like, that's how it sounds. Like, I'd never heard that before. I watched a lot of football. Like, that was really cool. And then like the best part about it was, I'm pretty sure this is what I saw, but like Tommy Maddox like mishears what the coach says, you know. So then Tommy Maddox like repeats like, you know, what he in the huddle, like what he hears, and he like mispronounced the word, and the coach is like, no, it's this, you know, it's like it's blah blah blah, but this other word, and like it was too late, you know, like Tommy Maddox called the, like, you know, a slightly different play because like one of the words was the wrong word, and it was just funny to hear the coach like no, that was good. So, you know, play like they're going back and forth in this game. There's just not a lot of defense going back. You know, they're kind of changing. Like the Chicago Enforcers they're scoring more at will. The LA Extreme is also moving the ball, but they're missing some field goals. Like, there's just honestly no defense in this first half. And then, you know, at 51 minutes 23 seconds, like you can watch one of the worst fumbles you'll ever see. It is like the sloppiest fumble I might have ever seen in college or professional football. Like, sloppy. Like, it is like, it's like me trying to catch the toss, and that's not good because I'm not necessarily all that athletic, so it's not good. It's funny though. Like, you should definitely check out 51 seconds. Like, it's slappy. It's a slappy Joe. Slap. Okay, and then, you know, like, then there's some, you know, like I said, there's a lot of offense, and then there's this guy named McDonald for the LA Extreme. He scores a touchdown at one point, getting close towards the end of the second half, and, you know, then he does like the dance, and he calls the dance the booty dance. Or it's the booty call. Maybe it's the booty call. It was the booty call or the booty dance. Something with the booty, and he got a few guys to do it, but they're doing the booty, and like and then they had JR is joking with
Jesse the Body. That's called the booty dance. He's doing the booty.
It's just too funny. Like, JR's cracking jokes about the booty dance, and they're having a good time. And like, that is back when like it's fun to watch the group dance, and like especially when it's like a goofy name like the booty dance. And then let's see. So okay, this was good. Towards the end of the half, they were like miking up Tommy Maddox, and then we got to see that Tommy Maddox has got some fire. Like, there's a dragon inside of Tommy Maddox, and it comes out. So like towards the end of the half, he's driving, and at some point, like, Tommy is yelling. He's yelling at a ref, like, stick up for yourself. Come on, man, stick up for yourself, man. I don't even know what that means. He's telling the guy to stick up for himself. I don't know who he was talking to, and it was like random that he was saying stick up for yourself, but like, it was cool. Like, I like watching. So, and then at the very end of the half, like they drove down, like Tommy Maddox drove the team down, put him in position to score. He's like, inside the 20-yard line, in the red zone. Maybe, like there's 17 seconds left. By the way, horrible clock management, like the worst clock management, like complete Bush League, like first-time coach clock. Someone that never plays Madden, horrible clock management, and he's not. It's really really bad. And so there's like, I don't know, 16, 17 seconds left, and it's a 4th and goal or 3rd and goal or something like that, and they elect to kick the field goal instead of going for it, even though they were down at this point 25-13, and so Tommy Maddox, they're kind of like passing at will. Like I said, there's not a lot of defense. Like the only reason the LA Extreme don't have more points is, they kind of choke or turn the ball over when they get close to the end zone, but they're moving the ball real easy. And then the kicker missed the field goal, right? That's the second field goal that the kicker missed. And so so like they have this side, like one of the interesting things about this broadcast is they have this sideline reporter that just at all times, he's just like this like annoying gnat-like character that gets in people's faces, and something important in the game happens, and then the sideline reporter just sticks a mic in some player's face. If like something good or something bad happens, like just stick a mic in their face, and they have to react. And so Maddox is walking off the field, and the sideline reporter is like trying to be like aggressive. Like I don't know if he was trying to piss off Maddox, but he's like, the sideline reporter's like, so you guys were having trouble moving the ball up and down the field. So what happened at the end of the half there? Maddox is like, what do you mean we've had trouble moving the ball? We've been moving it up and down all day, and then you're going to let the kicker kick it? He's going to miss 2 kicks? Why can't we? I'm out here. Then he just like stopped talking to the dude. But and then previously, like they had shown Maddox just like on the sideline, just freaking like cursing. He's like, "You're gonna let the kicker kick? You can't kick after F." It's like bloop bloop bloop. He's completely cussing. It's actually pretty funny. Like you should watch that. You have to watch the towards the end of the first half and see Tommy Maddox go off, because he just doesn't look like the kind of guy that would go off. Like he looks like a mild-mannered Clark Kent type character, but he's got some fire. So it's 25-13 at the half. Not a lot of defense. They come back. There's like 169 yards, 169 and 189 yards passing in the first half. So they really were just moving it up and down the field. So like what I would say is, so that's halftime, and they were supposed to at halftime like go into the locker room, and they were going to talk to The Rock, and they were going to show like the halftime speeches. This particular YouTube does not cover that, which is a shame, because like I was totally looking forward to that. Like that would have been amazing. But since they didn't have a halftime show like on the episode, I say we have a halftime show here. Are y'all with me? Let's go to the halftime show.
Okay. It's halftime, y'all. Benjamin Franklin. XFL Fancast halftime. Let's see if Tommy Maddox can bring it back.
Okay, we're back. Halftime. Halftime is over. What y'all think of the halftime show? That was pretty good. They had quite a band. A lot of energy. A lot of love for Tommy Maddox in the halftime show. That was cool. Yeah, that's what they didn't show you on YouTube. All right, so we're back. We got some little more analysis. Go a little faster in the second half. The second half's going to go a little faster. Actually, we're going to talk a little more football in the second half, but before we do talk football in the second half, at 1 hour and 18 minutes and 35 seconds, it might have been my favorite moment in the broadcast. They did a promo of a player, and the player, some of these players have different names on their jersey. There is a man. What is his name? There's a man named Rashawn Sheehy, and his name is The Truth. So his jersey just says The Truth, right? So like when you see the football jersey, you just see The Truth. Now there's another man, and he has the best name I've ever seen. So to date, we'll see if there's another better one. But this guy, they call him Death Blow. So like they do his promo, and he's just standing there. He's looking. He's just like banging his fist. He's just sitting there. He's pissed off. He's ready, and he looks there menacing, and he looks at the camera, and he turns, and he's like, "They call me Death Blow because I'm known for putting quarterbacks on the ground and breaking their necks." Yeah, his name was Death Blow, and he even did like the look up, like he's like Kane or the Undertaker or something. This was the best, like, and he was a real player. Like, he was so amazing. Like, if they, I know they might not do that in like the new XFL, but like that moment made watching this game. It made watching till hour 16 or hour 18 worth it. Like that's like the best moment. You got to watch that. So let's see. So like I think I talked about some of the like they keep showing like they keep doing like personal interest stories, and that was a nice touch. I mean, they kind of shoehorned them in too much. So there was like an injury timeout. So during the injury timeout, like then all of a sudden they had like the backup plan ready to go, where we went into that guy I just told you about, The Truth. We learned about The Truth, growing up. They had like him telling his story, and he grew up in a rough neighborhood, and like they had his mom and his sister, and that was solid. Like I kind of like somehow like shoehorning like the background of the players into the game. Like I don't know if they pulled it off right. Like it was like maybe a little too chaotic, but doing that, the idea was cool. Like it's kind of neat to learn about the players somehow, like during the game. Like I actually enjoyed that. So I recommend XFL keep that in somehow. Maybe I don't know how to do it a little better, but like actually during the injury timeout was like a great time to do it. Like they paid respect, like somebody is injured. They didn't actually, I mean, apparently they said this guy broke his leg. Like they said the leg was broken. I don't know. I mean, who knows? It's like, you don't know if that's true, but like, I mean, that's a brutal injury if that's true. Who knows? Sometimes, the McMahons are known for embellishing. So, like, I don't know, but, like, I mean, it's definitely happened. So, it's a real football game, so who knows. There was a cool football moment that happened at an hour and 38 minutes. The quarterback, like, on the third down, he did a quib kick. He did the quib kick. And, you see this in the NFL, like, once every 3 years. It's where I think they call it the pooch punt. It's where the quarterback kicks it himself. And they usually kick it on third down. And in this case, in the XFL, because it's live after 25 yards, if the other team's like not paying attention, they can kick it 25 yards, and if they gain possession, they gain possession. So that's pretty sweet. So it's actually kind of a smart play, and I'll be interested to see if I watch more XFL games, if you see that more and more often. Now, in this case, the guy screwed it up, and he like kicked it right to a defender who caught the ball like in mid stride and ran it back. So it completely blew up, but it didn't work. So anyway, this game was boring in the second half, mostly. But then it got extremely good really fast. It went from like really boring. So I said the defense didn't show up in the first half. Well, the defense or bad offense or something showed up in the second half because like nothing happened. Like it was 25-13 the whole second half until it really picked up in like the last 5 minutes. Last 5 minutes, our hero, our boy, Tommy Maddox
stepped up to the plate.
He really stepped up, and he led a drive with like a 2-minute drive, and well, maybe it was like a 4-minute drive, and he scores. Throws it to our boy Copeland. Copeland's showing up. Apparently Copeland was a quarterback at the University of Tennessee who lost out to
Peyton Manning. Couldn't beat Peyton Manning.
So he couldn't beat Peyton Manning, but so he's a wide receiver that can throw. He even did a trick play where Copeland tried to throw the ball. Didn't work, but, Copeland threw a decent pass. It was aight, But Copeland come up big, catches... Wait. Yeah, so I think Copeland's catching everything. So, with under... 3 minutes, I'm looking at my notes and I might have messed it up a little bit, but so it was under 3 minutes. The LA Extreme, they score to make it 19-25, right? It was an exciting Tommy Maddox, and I think it was to Copeland, perhaps not. Don't have time to pause and look, and I'm not gonna. We don't record, we give it to you how we give it to you here. Not a lot of re-recording. Might do a re-record here and there, but that's not going to be the general plan. So it's 19-25, and now it's like and they kick it deep, right? They score with just a little under 3 minutes. They kick it to the other team, the Chicago Enforcers. Chicago Enforcers don't do much with the ball, and they kick it back to the LA Extreme. Now the LA Extreme have just a little over 2 minutes to score again and tie the score up because of course they didn't get the extra point, so they only got 6 points, so that's why it stayed 19-25. Now there was an amazing, really exciting play with at 2 hours and 18 minutes, probably the most exciting play of the game. They didn't have much time to score again. Tommy Maddox throws up it's 4th and 10. They're on the 35-yard line. The game is there's not much time left. There's 33 seconds left or something. It's 4th and 10 on the 35. Maddox back to pass. Maddox bomb. Copeland catches it. It was amazing. So he caught it on the 1 yard line or something. They down the ball, and then my boy Ken Oxidine, who calls himself the Ox, he punches it in, and so now it's 25-25. They didn't get the extra point, so we go into overtime. And the overtime is cool. I really enjoyed the overtime rules. We can talk more about this in a future overtime episode, but this was cool to watch. I like the overtime. The overtime is similar to college. I don't think it's the exact same though. It's you start on the 20-yard line, you have 4 downs to score, and if on the first 3 downs you don't score a touchdown, you have the option to kick a field goal. And both teams are going to get the ball in that situation. Now the thing that's interesting is if the second team has to score in the same amount of plays that the first team scores. So if the first team scores on the 3rd down, so now the other team has to match it. They don't just get to score a touchdown and have all 4 downs. Now they only have 3 downs to score, and that's kind of fun. That was cool. And in this game, it really worked out. So actually, So the Chicago actually got the ball first, and that was because the LA Extreme elected to have them go first. So they got the ball first, and they actually scored a touchdown within the first 3 plays. That was really cool. And they got the freaking PAT. So they're not getting PATs the entire game. Nobody's getting a PAT. And not only that, but they score in 3 plays and they get the PAT. So now there's a complete, incredible amount of pressure on LA and our boy Tommy Maddox. Tommy Maddox now has 3 yards. Three downs to score from the 20-yard line and get a touchdown and a PAT. Well, I think you can guess where this is going, because it comes down to, of course, the 3rd down. So they got like 15 yards to go, or actually maybe it was like they hadn't moved much and it's like on the 20 still. But Maddox back to pass. Maddox the bomb to our boy freaking Copeland. Oh, that was that probably hurt your ear. Like, I clapped really by the mic, and I'm sure that was bad. So I apologize to my listeners. But Maddox to Copeland! Touchdown! Touchdown! So, like, Copeland just is, like, just lighting it up at all times. Like, and then Copeland, like, catches the freaking PAT. Just, it's all over. Like, they can't stop. So then now we're going to do it all over again. So, now the game is tied. I think the game was tied at 32, so now we do another overtime, except for this time LA scores, except for it's our boy McDonald scored a touchdown because it's Tom and Maddox once again. So then we get to see the booty dance. Chicago can't match that. Too much freaking momentum from LA. Maddox ends the game with 412 yards and 4 touchdowns. Oh my gosh. Really exciting, actually. Like that was like a pumped up, exciting. Like I stopped watching for the gimmicks and just started watching for the football the last 5 minutes. It was like really exciting, just on a pure level. But the best part is like all the accoutrement and the surrounding stuff with the XFL. At least now, we can talk about where it goes in the future, but I hope they keep some of this life. I mean, it had some life. I think it's ahead of its time, but we'll talk about that in a future episode. Y'all, this was a long episode. I don't know that we're going to do all episodes this long. Probably not. This might be the record episode. Maybe we'll do longer episodes, but this was a longer one. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time doing it. Like, this is a fun game. I think you should definitely watch that game. One last thing. You'll notice that we had a new intro music, on episode 3 and 4. So there was one version on episode 1 and 2. I'd like some feedback on like what's a better intro song. Like the second one is like a little happier, but the first one's cool too. I mean, I like them both. I made them both. I mean, I made them with the help of course, the creators that I attributed in the show notes. But yeah, it's really cool. So let me know about that, and then hit me up with your thoughts and various jokes and thoughts, and we'll make some reaction shows. I think the next episode is gonna be a fun one. We're gonna deep dive into an aspect of the XFL. I have a couple ideas in mind. I guess this is just a teaser. So if you want to like get into the weeds of some more XFL specifics, tune in to next week's episode. It's going to be one of those. It's going to be a banger. All right, y'all. This has been the XFL Fancast. Goodbye.
That was another edition of the XFL Fancast with your host, Seven Morgan. Please reach out to us, communicate with us via Twitter at XFL Fancast, at XFL Fancast on Twitter, via email, xflfancast@gmail.com, xflfancast@gmail.com, and please rate and subscribe. Thank you once again for listening to the XFL Fancast.